shop with E85. We've got a tune on it for both Pro EFI and AEM. So right now you can see we're just running the Pro EFI in the car. So I'm going to have John, let's show the map calibration. No service engine tune codes. So John, let's what are you trying to do here?
Basically, I'm trying to see how much power it'll make at 196 kPa.
Which is about 13 pounds of boost.
It's a little bit higher than that. 200 kPa is about 15 pounds.
Okay. But on the dyno, we're typically seeing 13 pounds of boost. And we're trying to, you said you were playing with timing a little bit. What were you doing with that?
Basically, I was just giving it timing until it stopped making power, is what you would normally do. Stop making power at about 18 degrees. So I'm just going to play with it a little bit more and see if we can't get a little bit more out of it.
Okay, sounds great. The graphs look really nice, John. They're all nice and smooth. Made 527 to the wheels. And it looks like, put the cursor on here, boost was at between 13.8 and 14, somewhere 13.5 to 14, but torque's flat, horsepower just keeps climbing. So do you got the log there? Is there anything special on the log?
I think it's loading right now.
The dyno shows between 13.5 and 14 pounds of boost. I'll save that log and I'll put it on the video too.
There's the log right there.
So what are you looking at there, John? Can you talk about it a little bit?
Across the top we have RPM, mapping KPA, and ignition timing. The second row we have O2 target and actual O2. The third row we have injector duty and fuel pressure that I'm monitoring here. And just for reference, at the bottom there, I have manifold pressure in pounds.
So that's what most like 14 pounds of boost.
Yeah, it comes up and then it begins to feed back.
Well. Okay.
So I mean, the O2 targeting is really good. It's pretty flat.
Okay, so the air fuel looks good. Yeah,
and right there at the end of this pull, it looks like I'm getting about 18 degrees of timing.
Okay. Nice. So, all right. Well, let's go back and let's see what this car will do on pump gas now. All right, we're running pump gas, Pro EFI, calibrate map sensor. Pump gas, see the numbers. made $399, but it looks like it kept climbing from 6 pounds of boost to 8 pounds of boost to 9 pounds. Okay, what are we doing right now, John?
We're working with the AEM back in the car, basically trying to just reconfirm that it still makes the power that it's supposed to. So what we've done is we've basically ballparked all the figures, as in boost, timing, AFR. We're just trying to ballpark it all the same as they were on the Pro EFI.
So you pretty much matched them up.
Yeah,
so it's the same car, same engine, same dyno, same day, same timing, same boost, same fuel.
Yeah, we're getting them as close as possible. It's impossible to match them, especially timing, because that depends on how the ECU is synced to the car. So
right. Okay. Well, let's see what it does. So that was 602. Okay, John, that was 602 horsepower.
Yeah.
So that's a significant difference over what we were doing before. Now, what do you attribute that to? If everything else is the same, I mean, it seems like it's got to be the cams.
Yeah, I would say that it's the cams. I can change the cam profile on top, and the car will lose a ton of horsepower.
Why don't you do that? Why don't you adjust the cams? Take out our cam tuning, and let's see what the car does without our cam tuning in it.
So these are our cam maps here. What I'll do is, after $5,000, I'll flatten the cam out.
So you can adjust these cams plus or minus 20 degrees, and that's the relationship between the camshaft and the crankshaft. So on both cams, the intake cam and the exhaust cam, and we can control them based on RPM. We can also control them based on boost. So what John's done here is he is, you want to go back to that screen so we can show what you just changed?
Right here.
So the red areas, he's just changed the cam timing. And what RPM did you change it at?
At $5,000, it's going to take a few hundred, maybe 1,000 RPM for the change to take place.
So where will we see it on the dyno?
In between 55 and $6,000.
Okay.
So what I can also do is, the AEM has a compare feature. So if I just compare this map to, let's see, the one that I just saved for Ray, right there, you can see that valve 2 and valve 1 is pretty much all that's changed. The car was a little low on boost, so as you can see right here, I actually took out a tiny bit of boost right there. Actually, I added a tiny bit of boost, sorry. So what we'll do is just make the pull and we'll see what power it is.
28. So we lost 72 horsepower. So we lost 72 horsepower there, John, just by taking the cam tuning out.
So by changing the cam, you also notice right here that the car goes fat.
Yeah.
So what I can do is go back to the Vanos maps, and all I have to do is Control Z, and that puts that back. Control Z again, and that puts the
now let's do another pull.
And to reconfirm what I showed you guys before, so file, compare, this is the original map that I did for him right here. As you can see, the only difference now is that tiny bit of boost that I gave it, which was the same as the last pull we just did. So make another pull and the power should come right back.
Right back to 605. That one right there. So between cams on, cams off, we're down literally almost, I guess that'd be 78 horsepower. So John, why don't we save the logs, and I'll put the logs in with the video as well as the dyno, so people can look at them. But that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, you know, the cam timing has a lot to do with the power that you can make. You know, that's why they have cam gears.
And the cam control that the BMW has isn't in all cars, just in new ones. Because I mean, we didn't used to have that in our Supras. Or Civics.
Yeah, and as you know, if you put cam gears on a fixed position cam and just move it a few degrees one way or the other, I mean, there's a lot of horsepower to be had there. And the Vano system, from idle to red line with load varying, there's infinite positions that it'll be at. It's constantly moving. There's no set point that it locks into a certain position and the engine continues to rev out. It's constantly moving.
Okay, well, that's cool stuff. Okay, John, what are we doing now?
Just a regular pump gas pull.
All right, well, John is pumping E85 out so we can put pump gas in. I'm going to show you a little bit about now that we have the AEM completed and the Pro EFI completed. The only one we're going to do now is Pro EFI on pump gas. Let me show how the AEM turned out with the tuning. So if we go in here and we look at our AEM E85, let's take, these were the two dyno graphs in the video. You can see they were taken a little bit apart, 4 minutes apart, but they pretty much lay right on top of one another. Boost, power, torque. If we start taking some of these other dyno graphs, 27, 28, 26, you can see, looks like we had a little tire slippage there, but you can see how they're pretty much on top of one another. 595, 597, 597, 602, 605. Even though time-wise they're over 15 minutes. We can even go back further to some of the other power graphs earlier in the day when we were just testing it. And we can see still, even earlier in the day, we're pretty much tracking the same line, even with the same boost here. So the problem that we're trying to get around is that with a Pro EFI here running 80% EFI, the E85, here's the final dyno graph that we just did. You can see it made 534, but we end up chasing our heels because as we did polls, we weren't changing anything, and the dyno polls kept showing up with different results, and all of these graphs are without any changes. And so we've actually reshot this video like 12 times because every single time it gave us a different number, and we've been chasing our tail all day to try to figure out which number we're going to use, and unfortunately those are the numbers. So between 521 and 537, but we think that the cams are being moved all over the place, and since we can't control the cams, we actually can't make a consistent number for you guys. But at least with the AEM we got a consistent number, and hopefully at some point once this car leaves and goes back to Pro EFI, they can figure out how to make Ray's car tune consistent as well. And here's with the AEM on pump. So it made 434 at 6.65 pounds of boost. And if you look at each of these, I'll show some of the earlier polls. If you look at all these polls, they're pretty much within a couple horsepower of each other, and they're starting the day before and finishing the next day. So all these pump gas polls, and you can see clearly they're at the exact same boost level. So very consistent. Now where we start chasing our tail, let me remove all the runs. Where we start chasing our tail is these runs. This is Pro EFI on pump. And you're going to see that these are all at the same boost level. But you can see the power just keeps changing, and there is literally nothing that we're not making any changes. It just the car keeps making different numbers. So it's getting pretty frustrating for us. So what we did on this video is we just picked one, pretty much the last one, and that's the one we're posting on. So I'll put that one dyno graph on there, and then we'll have the AEM ones on there as well.